At some point, we hope we're going to get a little bit of a weather break after what has been a frigid last couple of weeks. Welcome, everybody. Hope you have a great weekend here on X's and Bros. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Balley's with us. The Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us at Sports Radio 21,000. Thanks again to all the great folks at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Ascend for hosting us on the draft, on the, I almost said draft party, on the Michigan State watch party. Mitch Lyons was out there from Mitch Lyons Wealth. Jimmy King was out there. We had an absolute blast. I want to thank the folks for sure who had the opportunity to go out to Lansing Brewing Company and watch Billy's show on that Friday afternoon and get a couple of tickets there. And the folks at Metro Cars who were able to pick up the winners, take them to the Breslin Center that was loud and raucous and fun, and then take them back. And hope you enjoyed every single minute of it, whether you were rooting for Michigan or Michigan State. It is a way to go in style, and we hope you continue to support us here on the Michigan Sports Network with X's and Bros and the Huge Show as we give you more opportunities moving forward with the same type of promotion. Pistons beat up the Nets last night, leading by as many as 55. They cruise to a 130-77 blowout, their largest margin of victory this season, 53, and the largest in franchise history. They shoot 56%. They get double-digit performances from 5 different players. The all-star duo of Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren each had double-doubles. Duren, 21 points and 10 boards. Cunningham, 18 points, 12 assists. The Pistons improved to 20-5 at home, 36-12 overall. As far as Cade Cunningham is concerned, he is now, according to Pistons media relations, now one of 10 players in NBA history to record at least 18 points, 12 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks in a single game. But get this, he's the first player to ever do that in 30 minutes or less. Because Detroit was so comfortable, because they blew them out, had no question about it, he was able to play just 26 minutes. That is a really impressive stat line for Cade Cunningham. That's nice, man. 18 points, 12 assists. Pistons cruising right now. Duren, as I mentioned, a first-time All-Star, named as one of 7 Eastern Conference reserves, averaging 18 points, 11 boards, joining Cunningham in Los Angeles. This will be the first time the Pistons have multiple All-Stars in a game since 2008. Red Wings are back on the schedule tonight. It's going to be tough. They play the tail end of a home-and-home with the best team in hockey, Colorado. The Avalanche blew them out 5-0 at Little Caesars on Saturday. And on top of that, they are 22-4 at home this year. The Avs have just 2 regulation losses at home this season. Detroit is starting to scuffle. Simon Edvinsson out. Remember, we told you he was going to be out for the last 5 games prior to the Olympic break. They've lost 3 of those games so far, and they will not be favored tonight against Colorado. If Colorado did what they did, and Nathan McKinnon showed you why, he's one of the best players, if not the best player in the world on Saturday. He was a dominant force. Colorado playing the Wings on Saturday afternoon. If you watched that game, you recognized, man, this is how good you have to be if you want to compete for a Stanley Cup. That's how good Colorado is. They just wore them down. They're so skilled. They're so deep. They're so talented. It's another reason why you've got to pump the brakes a little bit. Look, you want to get into the playoffs, me too. You want to win a playoff series, absolutely. To think you're a Stanley Cup contender just yet is not possible. And I know anytime you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. You need some better players. This team has got to make a move. Let's hope they can before the All-Star or before the trade deadline and see if they can challenge a little bit. Because if you didn't and weren't convinced of watching that, I don't know if you watched the outdoor series yesterday, Tampa and Boston. First of all, Tampa comes in red hot, man. They're all dressed in Tampa Bay Bucks uniforms with Tristan Wirfs and Baker Mayfield leading them in Tampa Bay Lightning uniforms. So they led them into the stadium. It's a football stadium, okay? They're playing where the Tampa Bay Bucks do. They lead them in that regard. And meanwhile, the Bruins came in Patriot uniforms, which I thought was fantastic. But either way, it was a spectacle. It was fantastic. And then Boston jumps out to a massive lead. They're up by 4. Tampa has never come from 4 goals down to win a game, but they did yesterday. They beat the Bruins in a shootout. They extend their winning streak to 3, and now they've got 74 points to lead the Atlantic, and they are 4 points up on the Wings, who, as I've mentioned, has struggled. Tampa's won 3 straight. Detroit has lost 3 in a row. There was a goalie fight. There were all kinds. I mean, it had just about everything you could possibly want in that game. It was high scoring. It was really fun to watch. Raiders will hire Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak as their head coach after the Super Bowl. Arizona has filled their vacancy with Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. And the Niners have brought in former Falcons head coach Raheem Morris as their new defensive coordinator. Now, remember, this is one of those things where you lost some really good you lost some head coaches who were really good coordinators at one point. Now they're going back to coordinators. It's sort of like Robert Saleh. He left the Jets after he was fired, goes to San Francisco as the DC. Now he's a head coach again. I wonder, I'm just trying to figure this out. Is Kyle Shanahan, was he worried about stability at that position? When he hired Robert Saleh, do you think he was worried about stability at that position? That was the belief that the Lions, a big reason they wanted Drew Penzing, why they didn't want guys like Mike McDaniel or Zach Robinson. They wanted stability at the position. What was my rant? My rant was, I don't care about stability. If you've got to replace that position every single year, couldn't care less. Why? Because that means those guys would be doing their job. That is going to be the case for San Francisco. Robert Saleh did a really good job. He got hired as a head coach. Raheem Morris was a head coach and was a really good DC prior to that. Now he's the DC in San Francisco. Perhaps if he does really well, maybe he gets another head coaching job. Kyle Shanahan's okay with that. Apparently the Lions aren't. Apparently the Lions want a guy who wants to be an OC and stay that way for a while. They want the second coming of Josh McDaniels. Not me. I want the best you can possibly get. And if that means that he's going to excel and move on and be a head coach, then so be it. But Raheem Morris is their new defensive coordinator. That's how you win, man. You get some really good coaches in here. Do you think Sean McVay is concerned? His coaching tree, he's been a coach for 9 years. Do you know how many head coaches have left, or how many coaches have left his staff to become head coaches in 9 years? 4. 4 of them. And I just mentioned one of them, Mike LaFleur. Tim Cohen, gone, done a nice job. That's a really good sign. That means he's nurturing talent. And we here in Detroit, or shouldn't say we, but the Lions here in Detroit are worried about some type of consistency with their coordinators. You know what I want to be consistent? My team. I want my team to be consistently good, to win consistently. You can do that with really good coaches and really good players. We got some golf. We've got some tennis. We've got the Mitts Lions Wealth poll question, and we've got thoughts from you here on X's and Bros on the Meijer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21,000, anything that might be on your mind. Mondays with Mitch at 7:18 and at 8:18, Hero and Heel on X's and Bros.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with Buy 5, Save 5 deals on Watch Party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, 18 after the hour. Welcome back, X's and Bros, on a manic Monday after a big-time weekend that saw Michigan win at Michigan State, that saw the Pistons make a little franchise history, that saw the Red Wings now drop 4 points back, that saw Justin Rose set a new course record at Torrey Pines and win the Farmers Insurance Open. He became the first wire-to-wire winner in 71 years. Finishing at 23 under par, one better than Tiger Woods back in 1999, and saw history on the tennis court as well. Carlos Alcaraz beat Novak Djokovic in 4 sets to claim the Australian Open. The 22-year-old now owns the career Grand Slam, the youngest to ever do that. And he has 7 major championships overall. I don't know if he's going to get to 24, which is the record by Djokovic, by the way, and he's 3-0 in his career in titles against Djokovic. But 7 by the age of 22. Djokovic is 38, and he's got 24. It's a hell of a start for Carlos Alcaraz. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. Are the Red Wings good enough, as is, to make the playoffs? Are the Red Wings good enough, as is, to make the playoffs? Yes, they will win the division. Yes, but as a wild card. No, not unless they make a trade, or no, they will fade like the last 2 years. So, yes, they'll win the division. Yes, but as a wild card. Not unless they make a trade, or no, they will fade like the last 2 years. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. We give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. It is kind of funny how certain networks present things to us. In watching some shows this morning, I noticed the headline was LeBron leads the Western Conference All-Stars. And I thought, he was added in. Kawhi Leonard probably should have been there ahead of him, considering what he's done since Christmas and what he did yesterday. But either way, it's a very convenient headline, isn't it? And then I see a CBS writer go back and say in so many words, look, a year ago when they celebrated the Luka Doncic trade, it was a year ago over the weekend. One of the writers for CBS had mentioned that LeBron was getting tired of Anthony Davis. He's getting a little frustrated with Anthony Davis on his team. And lo and behold, what happens? Anthony Davis gets traded. When that writer had tweeted out his article that Anthony Davis was getting under the skin of LeBron James then tweeted back, "You're an effing liar," and put a clown in a Pinocchio. Shortly thereafterwards, what happens? He gets traded. Could be coincidence. And the writer admits that. Could be coincidence. Highly doubtful when a guy has that much power and is that type of voice within an organization. So little interesting there. And then the constant kissing of the feet continues, of course, from the 4-letter network. The NBA All-Star Game is in Los Angeles, speaking of Los Angeles. And before you say, well, that's the reason he's in and not Kawhi Leonard plays for the Clippers in Los Angeles too, by the way. Anyway, so you got Cade Cunningham, who received more votes from any of the players. He got the most votes by any players. Jalen Duren, in the meantime, was voted in by the NBA coaches. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know if you think that's the best way to go about it, that players should have more of a say, coaches should have more of a say, and things of that nature. I think you do worry just a little bit, not necessarily in this case, but you worry just a little bit about, coaches like to take care of their players, except unless you're Chuck Daly and you're picking the All-Star, the dream team. You're not going to take care of your player. But I get all that. Fans want their favorite players. That's an issue too. So all these all-star votes, no matter what sport, is bound to have a bit of an issue. there's a bit of a, I wonder if. And then, of course, you're always going to get into who was snubbed. That's going to happen no matter what. But I think it's fair to say that when they suit up February 15th at the Intuit Dome, home of the Clippers in Inglewood, that Jalen Duren deserves to be there. And it was a cool moment last night when he found out. And why not? When your team is as good as his team has been, and you are a primary reason, you realize the type of role you're on, you are going to make an awful lot of money with this. He is joined by, and I think it's important to bring up some of these names because suddenly you're in that realm. That's a really big deal. You win this type of award, and to a certain extent, that's what it is. It's an award. You're in some rarefied air for the year. I mean, if you're doing it multiple times like Cade Cunningham, that's a pretty cool thing. Donovan Mitchell is in it. Jalen Johnson from Atlanta. Karl Anthony Towns. I know how people feel about Karl Anthony Towns. I know you roll your eyes a little bit. This is a guy who could be, hey, traded at some point. Possibility, I suppose. Anyway, Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam. I've said this for a long time. This is a dude who is really good and I think way underrated. So I'm glad he's there. Norman Powell, Scotty Barnes, who's a really good player. The Western Conference, the additions are Anthony Edwards, Jamal Murray, Chet Holmgren, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Denny Avdija, and LeBron James. Now, we have complained about the formats over the past with the NBA All-Star Game. Here's what you're going to have. You're going to have two teams of U.S.-born players and one world team consisting of international players. So then those three teams compete in a round-robin tournament with 4 12-minute games. 4 12-minute games. So, for example, in round 1, Team A plays Team B. The winning team from Game 1 will take on Team C in Game 2. Then the losing team of Game 1 will meet Team C in Game 3. See how that works? I know. When you have to explain it like that instead of just playing a game, to me is stupid.
Well, and even then, even after they explain it and put the rules or the format up on the screen before every single game, there's still going to be tons of confusion.
Absolutely.
You can't just flip it on and see what's going on.
Right.
You're completely lost.
It's almost like that has to be the score bug. There's a bug in the lower right-hand corner of all these different, some have it just as a lower third, but on TV, it's called a score bug. So you put the bug up there, so people tuning in at whatever time, because you're getting people tuning in at different times during a game, can recognize what the score is. Oh, I missed the first quarter. What's the score here in the second quarter, right? That's to your point. You almost have to have the rules up on a regular basis, like a score bug, to make sure everybody understands it. It's stupid. God forbid you just put, how about this? This is just an idea. Team USA against the internationals. How about making the best team from Team USA playing the best team from the internationals? Why is that so crazy? Why not throw Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren on a team against a team with Doncic and Wembanyama and
Shai
Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic if he's healthy? Oh, that kind of stuff.
Wembanyama. The thing is we have enough.
Yeah, and then you get guys like that, and Giannis Antetokounmpo when he's healthy.
You have enough worldwide stars now to make that happen. So
without a doubt, not just worldwide stars, but I mean high-level guys, not just guys who you recognize, high-level players.
Right.
Isn't that more interesting, do you think?
Guys who would, in theory, make the All-Star team anyways.
Don't you think it would be more competitive?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. All right, quick timeout. Back with more on a Mitch Lyons Wealth Hour of X's and Bros here on a Monday.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen during the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with what they call early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. The matchup between Seattle and New England is going to be awesome. I don't care if it's Jackson Smith and Jigba you're betting on or Drake May. Get down there. Make sure you are with DraftKings Sportsbook because you're still going to get paid out in cash. Even if Smith and Jigba, you're betting on him and he gets hurt, God forbid for Seattle, you still get paid in cash in that first half. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HUGE and turn $5 into 300 bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years old, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio limited time offer. So big deal from Jalen Duren last night being named an all-star. Him and Cade Cunningham and J.B. Bickerstaff headed to Los Angeles. Pretty cool. I didn't think, it would come to this. I don't think it's necessary to get into a long diatribe about this. But if you thought about it, if the NBA could keep things, sometimes it's okay to keep things simple. You don't want to play a full game, then expand your roster a little bit. But if you took the top 12 guys internationally, when healthy, think about what you would have in an NBA All-Star game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, Lauri Markkanen, Pascal Siakam, Avdija, Jokic, Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Domantas Sabonis, Sengun, Jamal Murray. There would be 12. That's 12 guys. That's a pretty damn good team. That's a very competitive team. Team USA, Cade, Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Maxey, Mitchell, Curry, Leonard, Durant, Duren, Jalen Johnson, Karl Anthony Towns, whomever. I mean, there's plenty from which to choose is the point. I don't know why you have to get into this round robin and cutting it down in games when it's not really a real game. To me, you want to make things a little bit more interesting. You want to make them a little bit more competitive. This is the route to go. Hockey will continue to do it, I hope. And I would encourage baseball to do it. I think it'd be awesome to see baseball do the same thing. Players, it would matter. Trust me, it would matter to players. All right, quick text from our friend Freddie. Hope he had a good weekend and hope you did too. He says, I'm glad you brought up the DC position. In other words, the defensive coordinator, because I mentioned the fact that you've got a team like San Francisco losing Robert Saleh, one of the better defensive minds in all of football. He's now the head coach at Tennessee. And how do they replace him? They replace him with a really highly qualified guy who's been there, done that as a DC and a head coach, Raheem Morris. You know what else it tells me? It tells me that Kyle Shanahan is very confident. He's bringing in ex-head coaches. Some people feel like if you're bringing in ex-head coaches on your staff and you're the head coach, I don't want that guy to take my job. Get the best people available. That's all that needs to happen. Get the best people available. Anyway, Freddie, and appreciate this, he says, this has been a weird situation. Never a word of getting a experienced DC on a Super Bowl roster. He's talking about the Lions. If Brad and Lions seen 2 years in a row, injuries hurt the defense, not the DC, is that the way to go about it? Yeah, I think the injury stuff goes out the window when you see other teams who have won by losing players. Now, is it as many? Did they use injuries as an excuse from last year? Every team has to deal with injuries. And yet many of those teams, despite losing them, whether it be Philadelphia, Lane Johnson, San Francisco, Fred Warner, teams lose players. You find a way to win. I would ask you this. Why is it your team could handle losing those players, but winning in Chicago? Why could Minnesota lose their quarterback? It's not very good, but they went to a backup who's even worse, and they still beat you. I think people get tired of the injury excuses. It is interesting, though, if a player or an organization uses it, it's blasphemy. If talk show hosts, writers, or fans use it, it's acceptable. But I do believe, considering the way things have gone for other teams this year and how they've overcome them and still gone on to win the division like Philadelphia, then why in the world should we be leaning on that if you're in Detroit? Anyway, he said, I thought of you instantly watching the Grammys last night when they honored Ozzy. Yeah, a really well done rendition. I saw that on social media. I won't give the Grammys 2 seconds of my time. Sorry. I don't need pompous people up there telling me what I should listen to, what I should believe in, and all that other stuff. So sorry. Does the NBA have a problem? Now, this is an interesting thought. Get your thoughts on it. Does the NBA have a problem? Now, when he texted that, and you could text us, Sports Radio 21,000, I thought, what does he mean by that? His comment was, they have only 5 to 6 good teams. The other teams are so bad. The ratings are down. What in the world do they do? Well, let's look at that. I think the Pistons, first of all, how many teams are watchable? You could be good and still watch, or you can be average and still be watchable. The Lions were an average football team. They're still fun to watch for most people outside Detroit. But in the NBA, Pistons are fun to watch. Knicks are fun to watch. Boston is good. Toronto's good. Cleveland's good. I mean, I like watching Tyrese Maxey. I think he's a hell of a player. So there's 5 teams in the East right there, Freddie. In the West, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Houston, Denver, even Minnesota. I mean, that's more than 5 to 6. You think Minnesota could win a championship? Maybe not. I mean, they're on a little bit of a roll here, winning 5 straight. Are they better than Oklahoma City? I think what he might be saying, there might be 5 or 6 teams to win a title. I wouldn't say there's only 5 or 6 teams that are good, unless you're trying to take something away from Phoenix, who's 10 games above 500, and you're saying, well, they're beating up on bad teams. That might be a little bit of a stretch there. Okay. I think there's more than 5 or 6 good teams in the NBA. I don't know what the ratings are. Okay. We look at it this way. How many, maybe this is way too easy. Okay. How good are teams when they play teams that are above 500? So, for example, the Pistons are 36-12 on the year. Okay. 36 up, 12 down. Great start, right? What are they against teams that are above 500? 14-6. You'd have to do some math here on how many teams in the league have winning records against teams that are above 500. Is that a way to look at it? I think there are more than 5 to 6 teams. Okay. And then he says this. Lastly, the Rooney Rule. Is it time to get rid of it? Do organizations bring on more minority coaches or front office guys just to possibly get future third-round picks? There could be some teams that do that. The Rooney Rule, which I think had good intentions, I don't think has been handled the right way. How many guys are being interviewed just for the sake of being interviewed? I don't think that's necessarily right or fair either.
Yeah, if you're just trying to check a box, it almost is more disrespectful. It can be counterintuitive or seem counterintuitive to what it was supposed to help with. Does that make sense? Like it was supposed to give minority coaches more of a fair shake, which I'm all for. I think we all are on principle. But then, like you just said, if you're only interviewing a minority coach to check off the box and say it was the Rooney Rule, how do you think that coach feels throughout the whole interview process?
Exactly.
They're not stupid.
Exactly. No, I mean, it gets them their foot in the door, I suppose. Maybe opens up a possible relationship later on in their coaching career. But I agree. It is, don't you think it's a little odd? And again, maybe some depends on how this coach handled certain situations. All right. He was not, when Brian Flores came out and said some of the things that he said in his head coaching gig in Miami, it didn't do him any favors. He's a game under 500 as a head coach there. It is a little strange, okay, because he's also been a DC in Minnesota, and that DC had put up really good numbers. All right. If you're looking at points per game, his team is ranked 13th, 5th, and 7th. In his 3 years there in Minnesota, 13th, 5th, and 7th. He's out there. He's not getting a head coaching job. So in all likelihood, going back to Minnesota as the DC, at least that's what he said he was going to do. If I were the Lions, if you believe everything is on the table, we need to get better in every possible way. Okay? Am I wrong there? Do you just give a guy a position? Do you give a guy a position on your team because he's been there before? No, he has to earn that, right? I mean, obviously, Penei Sewell is going to be your right tackle. That's not a debate. But you have other jobs. If guys aren't doing it, you have other jobs that are open for competition. Do you think, I think this is what Freddie's getting at, do you think Kelvin Shepard did his job last year? If you could be better in that role or better in that spot, why wouldn't you improve it? Brian Flores says he's leaving Minnesota. Maybe he thought he was going to get a head coaching job. Would you not want to go get him? And that's the thing that he might be referring to. How about an opportunity to go out and make your team better no matter what? There's interesting things going on right now in the NFL. Like Clint Kubiak's going to be the head coach with the Las Vegas Raiders. All right. He's in Seattle. They're getting ready for a Super Bowl. If Seattle fails, let's say New England beats them or upsets them on Super Bowl Sunday, how many people in Seattle do you think will fall back to what Lions fans did a year ago and say, well, he hung us out to dry. He was off interviewing. His mind wasn't on it. You remember that, right? Ben Johnson was the guy who was eyeing head coaching positions. He did it the year before too, by the way. He did it the year before in 2024 or in 2023, I should say. He just didn't take those jobs.
I think it all depends how the team looks, though, because the reason people were so upset with Ben Johnson was because, yes, they lost and he had interviewed for jobs and stuff, but the way the offense looked in that game as well. People hated his game plan because he abandoned the run early and he got cute with the Jameson Williams pass at the end. So I think that adds to it. Like
I was very critical of that. Trust me.
If Clint Kubiak's offense looks lackluster in the Super Bowl, then I think Seahawks fans would be very upset with him. Well, but if they put up 40 and
remind
lose,
people of this. That all I'm telling you is, I mean, Detroit did score 31 points. I'm not in the habit of sticking up for Ben Johnson. All right, I abandoned the run. They rushed for 200 yards in that game. They had more first downs than Washington. We have very selective memories. Okay, they threw for 336 yards. They had 521 total yards against Washington in that game. Here's the problem. They had 5 turnovers. That was the problem. They went 2 for 2 on first downs. You're trying to tell me that team, because he interviewed, was looking for a job, that he was derelict in his duty when his team gained 500 yards, had 3 more first downs, rushed for 200 yards, and threw for well over 300? Seems a little odd to me. I think it's very convenient. Your team got upset. Look, I didn't like, you know this, I didn't like the call of Jameson Williams pass. That's stupid. I thought it was ridiculous. He's done it. He did it in Chicago this year. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I think he's done it earlier in his Lions career too. Again, I'll reiterate, I didn't like it. But you loved it when Amon-Ra St. Brown did it, right? You loved it when it went to an offensive lineman. Dan Skipper is a cult hero because of this. I had a debate with a friend of mine 2 weeks ago, and they said the exact same thing when it was the Bears and the Rams. And they said they don't know who to root for. And I said, why is that? Well, I hate Ben Johnson and I hate Matthew Stafford. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Tell me more. Why? Well, I can't stand Stafford. He left and won a Super Bowl. Oh, so you wanted him to leave. You didn't want him here any longer. You got tired of him. You said you couldn't win with him. He proves you wrong. Then you hate him. You wanted him to leave and do what? Fail? That would make you feel better? It's a strange way of garnering some feelings, but okay. Why Ben Johnson? He left us out to dry. He didn't care about the game against Washington. I said, you're trying to tell me a guy who's spent the entire week or 2 weeks getting ready for a game, getting his team sharp, his number one rated offense, scored over 30 points, had over 500 total yards, had over 200 yards on the ground, but suddenly he left your team out to dry? They abandoned the run? Wow. Okay. How many runs should they have had? If you're abandoning something, like Washington rushed 43 times. Is that what you wanted? You wanted them to run the ball more when they were trailing? Is that what it was? We have very selective memories. Washington scores 28 points in the second quarter. That was the turning point for the most part because Detroit did this. Blech. It's like your dog when it eats too fast and just throws up right afterwards. That was Detroit with the football. But we remembered that they lost, and we have a foggy memory about some of the numbers following. Phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21000. A quick timeout, and then back with more here on X's and Bros. Mitch Lyons joins us from Mondays with Mitch at 7:18, 8:18. We want your hero and your heel, the best and the worst of the weekend or the week that was on X's and Bros.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is a managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Trent Valley here to report another A-plus weekend for the Pistons in more ways than one. After a 6-point win over Steph Curry's Golden State Warriors on a late Friday night, the Pistons returned home Sunday for a 53-point victory over the Brooklyn Nets. No, I didn't just misspeak. 130-77 over the Nets to climb to 36-12 on the season. More exciting, perhaps, was the news that Jalen Duren will, in fact, join Cade Cunningham and J.B. Bickerstaff as an NBA All-Star reserve. His first such honor. He'll have a couple of weeks to soak it in before the event on Sunday, February 15th. It was also announced Friday that Lion star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown will play in the celebrity game for NBA All-Star Weekend. Talk about a fun weekend for Detroit fans to look forward to.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with Buy 5, Save 5 deals on Watch Party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Okay, second hour of the program at 7:18. Excited to talk with Mitch Lyons as always. It's Mondays with Mitch. Mitch Lyons Wealth. He'll join us at 7:18. 8:18, we will do Hero and Heels like we do every Monday as well. Mitch Lyons was with us at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort at Ascend. We watched the Michigan State game. A lot of fun there. He and his beautiful wife were there. Jimmy King was there with us. We really enjoyed it for sure. It's a good time. If any of you came out, thank you for coming out. If you didn't, next time, hopefully you can join us out there. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can always text us, Sports Radio 21,000. I read an article over the weekend, I'm sure you did too, where Evan Petzold of the Free Press projected the Tigers through Fangraphs. That's key. Fangraphs. How many wins do you think they'll get? These are kind of funny. I sure take this with a grain of salt. Fangraphs is usually pretty accurate. Very good at what they do, using the algorithms, using the various things that they do. The hard thing about this is, it can change in an instant if Tarek Skubal gets hurt. It can change in an instant if Riley Green gets hurt. It can change in an instant if Detroit actually adds some talent to their roster, or additional talent, I should say. Not like they don't have any talent on their roster. They do, but additional talent. All right. We know they won 86 games 2 years ago. Wild card. Last year, 87 games. Wild card. What do you think they project this year to be the number of wins for the Tigers in the AL Central? If you go 86 2 years ago, 87 last year, what do you think, Trent, the number of wins will be this year?
Low 80s.
You're right. 83.
And I just base that on, I think they probably view it as largely the same team from last year, because it is. What did they do to get much better? Not a whole lot.
Much.
And can they get off to as hot of a start in the first unofficial half as they did last season? Probably not.
Excellent question. Right. They predict Kansas City to have 83 wins. Cleveland 79, Minnesota 77, Chicago 69. Because of that, they give Detroit a 49% chance to reach the postseason for the third time in a row, and everybody in Detroit will be happy, except probably me. Let's go to the phone lines, the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Who do we have on a Monday morning?
We've got Bob in Traverse City, and he wants to talk about Friday's game between Michigan and Michigan State.
Hey, Bob, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just great.
Good.
Thanks
for listening.
I've listened to the first hour,
Mhm.
and you really haven't given any kudos to Michigan for their big win against not only Nebraska, but against Michigan State. I mean, they beat the 5 team, the 7 team, and I know you and Trent are Michigan State homers, which is fine, but there's no excuse not talking about the how great Michigan's planned this year, and especially that game.
Yeah. So a couple of things there, Bob. It is interesting that the perspective people have. Because I called Michigan basketball for 15 years that included Big Ten tournament championships and 2 national championship games, I'm viewed by Michigan State fans as a Michigan homer. You're telling me I'm a Michigan State homer, which might be a first. So that's interesting. I did pick Michigan State to win the game, if that's what you're referring to, and I was dead wrong. My hero at 8:18 actually is Michigan basketball. Don't want to give it away too soon, but apparently I did, because of what they did. So I thought Michigan was absolutely phenomenal in the last 6.5 minutes. They showed no intimidation, fear whatsoever in what I would consider the second or third toughest place to win. They clearly showed they're the better team. Their size is a massive difference. There's no doubt about that. And they are the best team in the Big Ten. And I would argue, outside of probably Arizona, I would say they're the best team in the country. We haven't gotten to it. We haven't gotten to it because of a lot of the other things that happened yesterday. But trust me, it's on our to-do list. What impressed you most about Michigan's wins, you could say, rather than just one?
There's just their dominance, and looking at the number 3 team, North Carolina. I look at their schedules. They don't play. They play one ranked team the rest of the year, and that's number 25. They play them twice. So really, they're not playing a tough schedule. And I know Arizona's playing a tougher schedule, but they got to take that into consideration when they do the rankings.
Well, I'm sure they do. As you know, Bob, I don't think the rankings mean a ton right now. North Carolina did play Michigan State. They did play Kansas. They did play Kentucky in the non-conference schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you, as you well know, once you get into your conference schedule, there's only so much you can do. So you're still playing Virginia. They still have Duke coming up, and Duke's a highly ranked team. Louisville and Clemson are all ranked teams. They play Duke twice. So I wouldn't say they have an easy schedule. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a more difficult schedule than Michigan's, but I wouldn't call North Carolina's schedule, or saying that they don't play really anybody or a tough team, a tough schedule the rest of the way, I think would be disingenuous. I think North Carolina has plenty of tough tests the rest of the way. And Michigan does too. Michigan still plays MSU again. They still play Illinois. They still play Duke, and they still play Purdue. Okay. But next up for the Wolverines, they get Penn State. They get an average Ohio State team. They get Northwestern. They get UCLA. I mean, if you're a North Carolina fan and you're telling me that North Carolina is playing Duke twice, they're playing Clemson, they're playing Louisville, and we've already played, as I mentioned, some of the harder teams. Why would you think their schedule is more lenient than Michigan's moving forward? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not hearing. I think you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry about that, Bob. We were talking about how North Carolina does have a challenging schedule the rest of the way, and as does Michigan. But North Carolina's doesn't. They're not going to be able to sleepwalk their way through games against Louisville, Clemson, Duke twice. They still have plenty on their table that is challenging.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, I got to get going. So thanks for the
Same here.
input.
Appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you very much. Good to have you on board, Bob. Thanks for listening on WKAD 93.7 FM, The Ticket. He does bring up a good point, though. I would say this. We are an hour and 9 minutes into the show, and we haven't mentioned it other than the watch party at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. We'll talk about it a little bit with Mitch Lyons when he joins us Mondays at Mitch at 7:18. It is a unique perspective. The Michigan State homerism pointed at me is the first time I've heard that. I didn't realize that's how some people viewed it. If you give another team a lot of credit, are you really a homer? Michigan State played a really hard non-conference schedule. They've been really good in the Big Ten. They're not as good as Michigan. That's pretty obvious. Okay. We've talked about how good Michigan is this year. Plenty. We've talked about both. We were fired up for Friday night's game. I give Michigan State a ton of credit for coming back, and then I give even more credit to Michigan for once they were down, when they trailed, and the roof was falling off the Breslin Center, Michigan ramrodded it right back down their throat. Really impressive. We'll talk with Mitch Lyons Mondays with Mitch. When we come back, we're brought to you by Meyer this hour on X's and Bros.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. 18 after the hour. Every Monday at this time, we get a chance to visit with our friend Mitch Lyons, Mitch Lyons Wealth at MitchLyonsWealth.com. It is never too late to start thinking about your retirement. It's also never too early to think about it as well. Call him today, 866-85-STEEL, or go to his website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. Sign up for his free newsletter. Pick up the book, Retirement of Steel. It's free. And also, he's a featured expert in the documentary Retirement Deception. Make sure you get a streaming code on the website and check that out. It will help you as you prepare for your future. Mitch Lyons with us here on X's and Bros. Good morning, my friend. Thanks again for Friday night. Really enjoyed it with you and your lovely bride. Biggest disappointment in the Michigan State loss for you, and most impressive thing that Michigan showed you?
Yeah, I think the disappointment is just coming out and shooting the ball horribly. Michigan had something to do with that a little bit. Their length and size, which is definitely a strength for theirs and an advantage they had over MSU down low, contributed to that. But you just can't shoot in the 20s and expect to be competitive with a team as good as Michigan.
NFL becoming more offense or more defense? Two former OCs hired over the weekend. All the positions are filled in the National Football League. How do you view the league's trend of head coaches recently?
Well, I think this is a long time coming. I mean, you've seen it. Every rule change is generally for the offense. Defense might win championships, but offense sells tickets, and the NFL is a marketing juggernaut. So, yeah, they're going to build it around offense. So I think teams are recognizing that, obviously, and they need somebody that can come in there and perhaps be more somewhat of a quarterback whisperer for those teams that are looking to have a young quarterback. I think you want somebody there that can speak the language with him and connect with your quarterback. It's a key position on the team, clearly, and I think we're just going to see more of that over time.
You've lived through this, the Super Bowl week. It's a 2-week respite, if you will, and now things really start to gear up for the biggest game of the year this weekend, this Sunday. Do you like the 2-week in between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl? Why do you think it might be needed, or what would you do to change it, if anything?
I didn't like it yesterday, Shep. I mean, I didn't know what to do with myself. It's first weekend without football in months, and I was a little lost all day yesterday. But realistically speaking, while I don't like the week off, I mean, there's just so many logistics and stuff that go into that I think it'd be really tough and a lot of pressure on teams to turn around from those championship games and get everything planned from tickets and all that. There's a lot there, and from a player standpoint, coordinating family and all that. So it gives them a kind of a week to reset, get all that stuff out of their way, and then get there and then start focusing on the game and not have to worry about all that ancillary stuff. So don't love the week off, but here we are. It's the week of, and I'm ready to roll with it.
You need to think about your retirement. This is the place you go. You go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. Call them today, 866-85-STEEL. That's 866-85-STEEL. How much do you enjoy seeing Jalen Duren become an all-star? We knew Cade Cunningham, but now for the first time you get this Piston 22-year-old big in the all-star festivities.
Well, I love it, and I think it's a testament to where the Pistons have risen to, right? I mean, both these guys joined a team, a franchise that was downtrodden, and Cade obviously was a star from the start. Jalen was young, man, and he's improved each year. And I was looking at his stat. He's one of two guys in the NBA, him and Wembanyama, only two guys that are averaging over 18, 10, and a block a game, and that's pretty rare company. And but again, when a team does well, their players are recognized individually, and I think that's the biggest thing there. But this kid's a freak that's going to be around a long time, and it's great to have both those pieces on the Pistons.
Do you think this team's good enough to win the East the way it is, or do you think they have to make a move in order to do that?
I don't think they have to. Would it be nice if they can pick up some more shooting, and a perimeter defender? Yeah, maybe. But I mean, again, everyone's got something on their roster that they would like to improve. But clearly, it's been good enough to lead the East, and so they definitely have the talent to do it. And hopefully, they can get a little better in each area of their games as we progress towards the playoffs. But I think they've got enough to get it done.
We were talking about the Super Bowl moments ago. What's been the best storyline in the NFL this year, do you think?
Oh, boy. I mean, really, I would have said coming into the playoffs, it was the Patriots and Bears, right? I mean, those two biggest turnarounds.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Pats have kept it going. The Bears got knocked out. So I would say the Pats. I mean, coming off back-to-back 4-13 seasons, a new coach, a young quarterback, and for Vrabel to go in there and just turn this thing around in one season, and not only turn it around and make the playoffs, but do it in dominant fashion. I mean, shoot, they start off 1-2. They've lost one game since. To me, it's crazy. And you think of the dominant franchise the Patriots were, and then they, much to the happiness of the rest of the NFL, they'd kind of fallen down. And but bam, here, Vrabel comes in and has resurrected the thing as quick as can be. And so that was a bit surprising to me.
What if I talked about a little bit about the youth at the quarterback position, which I know it gets probably oversold way too much. But when you see some of the guys who have led their teams to division titles, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, and then, of course, not that he's young, but the story of Sam Darnold. I know it's easy to gravitate toward the quarterback position, but how do you rank the young quarterbacks leading their teams to division titles with some of the aforementioned guys as we look toward, is the NFL in good hands with quarterbacks? And it seems like it is.
Well, we've definitely seen an influx of youth, right? And not just young, talented quarterbacks, but guys that have figured out how to lead their team to win. And there's a difference there. You can have great arm strength and a gunslinger's attitude, but you still have to lead your team and be able to take them to victory. And we certainly saw an influx of that this year with young guys. And I think a lot of that goes up to guys playing, the game's changing in college too a little bit. And guys,
Mm-hmm.
I think the guys that you see that have played maybe a little longer in college, got more reps, more snaps, are coming in and having more success than maybe the one-hit wonder that had 1 year of starting and then being the man in college. I mean, the bottom line is that's a really hard position, and you have to have a lot of reps under your belt to really get comfortable back there. So I think the more experienced you are coming in, and I think the NIL is going to play to that. Guys might think about sticking around an extra year because they know they're going to get paid anyway, and then be able to develop and be ready to hit the ground running when they hit the NFL.
Speaking of NIL, you played at Forest Hills Northern, before Michigan State. So Forest Hills Northern High School. Your daughter is a standout in high school and now plays at Ferris State. The NIL has reached Michigan high schools. As a former player and as a father of a high-level athlete, what's your take on that?
It's Pandora's box. It's just like college. I don't know that clearly it's probably not going to get the same level as college, but it's a slippery slope. And I've talked to some folks, and there's some pretty tight rules and penalties for people not adhering to the rules. So I don't know if how much if it's really worth going down that as a high school program. It's really got to be monitored and a slippery slope again to make sure things are being done the right way and the right people are being involved instead of the wrong people. But it's interesting. The world has changed as we know it, Shep, and we'll see how it plays out. But great if kids can make some money. That's fantastic. But it's just that tends to lend itself to some things that are maybe nefarious and not in the best interest of kids.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking long term with this stuff. Instead, we're getting caught up in it. But to Michigan's credit, they are the 46th state to finally do it. So maybe they're a little late to the table. A lot of people don't like it. There's a lot more guardrails associated with it than there is in the NCAA. That's a silver lining. Yeah. Listen, have a great week, my friend. Tell the family we said hello. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Have a great one, and looking forward to a great Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Mitch Lyons, we'll talk to him a little bit later on in the week about that Super Bowl, get his Super Bowl prediction, 866-85-STEEL. Sign up for his free newsletter. Don't forget, he's got a free book for you, Retirement of Steel, on the website. And you also have a free streaming code on the website for retirement deception. Trust me, you want to be thinking about your retirement. It's never too early, and it's also never too late. They give you hope. How much hope do we have for the Tigers? I don't think are we truly understanding? Are we truly appreciating? Are we understanding and feeling the game the Tigers are playing with Tarek Skubal right now? We'll get to that when we come back on X's and Bros. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Trent Valley here to report another A-plus weekend for the Pistons in more ways than one. After a 6-point win over Steph Curry's Golden State Warriors on a late Friday night, the Pistons return home Sunday for a 53-point victory over the Brooklyn Nets. No, I didn't just misspeak. 130-77 over the Nets to climb to 36-12 on the season. More exciting, perhaps, was the news that Jalen Duren will, in fact, join Cade Cunningham and J.B. Bickerstaff as an NBA All-Star reserve. His first such honor. He'll have a couple of weeks to soak it in before the event on Sunday, February 15th. It was also announced Friday that Lion Star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown will play in the celebrity game for NBA All-Star Weekend. Talk about a fun weekend for Detroit fans to look forward to.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year, and it's closing in fast. It's this Sunday when anything can happen during the Super Bowl. DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, let's say it's Trevion Henderson, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If he goes down in the first half, you still get your cash. New to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get 300 bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HUGE and turn $5 into $300 bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years or older. Michigan only. Eligibility due and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days, so minimum odds are required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio. This is a limited time offer. Meyer hotline open 866-838-4843. Text us Sports Radio 21,000. Don't have the exact date, but within the next couple of weeks. Now that the calendar has turned to February, next couple of weeks or so, the Tigers and Tarek Skubal will have a final decision. All right. It's either going to be $19 million and the Tigers will win their arbitration case, or it'll be Tarek Skubal winning $32 million. We understand what's at stake, okay? We know he's going to be on this team. Spring training isn't far away. Opening pitch on opening day isn't far away, 50-plus days. The question I think a lot of people want to know is, what will this do to the relationship of the Tigers and Tarek Skubal moving forward? I think most Tiger fans are reserved to the fact that because it has gone this far. And you know what happens in an arbitration case, right? The team goes up there and tells you why you're not worth more than what they're offering. The players' representatives go up there and argue why you are worth what they're asking for. They're not the ones downgrading the player or even the organization. It's the organization taking the tact of downgrading the player. Ask Corbin Burns. It creates some hard feelings. I wonder how concerned Tigers fans are about that. I don't necessarily believe in a conspiracy theory, but I do think things are sometimes orchestrated. When Tarek Skubal goes around, Red Wings, Spartans, Pistons, Lions, talks about how much he loves Detroit, knowing what the team has said about him in the arbitration, and in all likelihood will win that arbitration. He does have fans on his side. Why hasn't the organization understood that and settled? Let's go to the phone lines, the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Who do we got?
Mark in Gun Lake, and as always, he's fired up about the Pistons.
Hi, Mark. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Shep. Thanks for another great show. I just wanted to say, congratulations to Cade and Jalen for being on that All-Star team. But I'm wondering, if it's 50-50 at the end of the first quarter and it's going to be a layup dunk contest, do you watch that game, or what can you do to make it more exciting instead of just watching these guys? Duran's going to have like 12 dunks in that game, and it's going to get boring. What do you think that they could do to make that game more exciting?
So the only reason I'll watch that game is because of Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duran. Usually I don't watch that game. It's all it is. It's not true basketball in my mind. Go back and watch. I know people will roll their eyes. It's okay. Go ahead and roll your eyes, because the All-Star games in the past at least showcased an awful lot of skill and talent. Today they don't necessarily do that. So I'll watch it for that. How do you make it more exciting? We talked about it earlier. Here's what I would do. I would just have the international team play the team from the players from America. That's what I would do.
Oh,
I would build a team of Jokic and Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Wembanyama and Markkanen and Siakam and Embiid and Sabonis and Sagoon, and I would put them up against Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren and Mitchell and Maxey and Brown and guys like that. That's what I would do. But
that would be
you
fun.
run the risk there.
Right. Long ago, when they used to have just college players, basically, or all-star college players in the Olympics, Al McGuire came up with an idea that the NCAA tournament winner would represent the United States in the Olympics. I want to get your opinion on that idea that he had long ago. It was like in the 70s, 80s. And one more thing, 2 players in the NFL that people always say that retired too early were Barry Sanders and Jim Brown. Out of the other 3 sports, I want to hear your opinion. Who called it quits early on hockey and basketball and baseball? And I'll listen to your comments. Have a great day, okay?
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Mark. A lot to unpack there, and I love it. So going to take some required thinking, all right? Not that he retired too early, but, Gale Sayers is a guy. Some people, I think he only played 8 years. Floyd Little only played 8 years. Andrew Luck probably – look, I'm not passing judgment. They felt like they needed to retire, and they did so on their terms. Good for them. Luke Kuechly, for example. So Luke Kuechly and Andrew Luck recently, those are the guys of recent that would come to mind. First, let me talk about what you just said regarding the college basketball, the Al McGuire suggestion. Okay. So I get that. That's fine. I don't necessarily agree with it. And here's the reason I don't agree with it. It's a team that is, Arizona's about 6 guys deep, 6, 7 guys deep. Jason Cooks has played 7 games. Addison Arnold's played 14 games, and he plays, 2 minutes a game. If you want to build a team that is going to win an Olympic medal or win some type of major award, thank you, Christmas Story. If you want that, you're going to need massive depth. The best college basketball teams, how deep are they? 8 guys? 9 guys? In the Olympics, you want to be able to play and have more than that. Do you not? Not that you have to be the dream team per se, but let's just say, for sake of argument, let's take a local team. Let's take Michigan. All right. How deep is Michigan? They're about 9 guys deep. If you put Will Cheddar in there, you're not seeing anything from Winters Grady. You're not seeing anything from Oscar Goodman. You're not seeing anything from Charlie May, Howard Isley Jr. Those guys aren't playing. Okay. But that's the team. So I would personally like, if you're going to play and represent your country, if you want to do that, that's, I suppose, fine. What happens when they get in foul trouble or you get injured in the Olympic tournament when you've got, a 14-man roster, 15-man roster, but really only 8 guys play? When you've got other teams that have built up rosters that are filled with, guys who can start on just about anybody else's team coming off the bench. You understand what I'm saying there, Trent? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there?
Yeah, I do. And I do think it's one of those situations. I like that Mark's at least challenging the line of thinking, because I almost feel like these leagues overthink it sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You and I have that joke about guys in the conference room who stick their hand up and have this idea and no one questions it. Everyone just goes along with it, even though it's one of the worst ideas you've ever heard. So there's no perfect science to it, but I also feel like we've reached the point of no return where it's like they've tried everything, Shep. Like, what else can they do other than go back to either East versus West or simple U.S. versus world? And hey, if you have the foresight to see that you might not have enough, in 10 years, say you don't have enough world stars, then go back to East versus West. It's fine. Just have 2 teams. You don't need to do the round robin thing. You don't need a target score. I mean, they've reinvented the wheel 100 times at this point. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and but here's the other thing. It's really hard to follow.
Oh, it's impossible to follow.
I think that's really important. I do. I think that's really important for fans. Fans want to be able to turn on a game and not have to think too much.
Exactly. You can't just flip the All-Star game
too much at work. There's so many of you who are out there thinking at work, constantly using your brain, which is great, right? But at some point, you want to sit back in your lounger, you want to sit on your couch, and you want to have it dumbed down. And when you have to think as much as this team or this league has forced you to think, then it kind of drives people, I think, a little crazy. So I think it's a really good point, but it is something that I wish, they would not overthink so much. All right, to the players who maybe retired a little early. Now this is kind of challenging, so I greatly appreciate, what Mark has to say there. I will do my best to come up with some names who I think have been, I don't know, retired too early, and I wish they would have stuck around. I never saw Sandy Koufax play. All right. But Sandy Koufax would be one of those guys. Obviously, Calvin Johnson would be one of those guys.
That's the first one that comes to mind for me. And I think people my age, because we grew up watching him and he was so dominant, and then he just walked away abruptly.
Right.
Maybe not abruptly. I mean, he was starting to have some injury concerns.
Oh, yeah.
But
he played through massive injuries.
Yeah,
for
it
years.
wasn't
A lot of
super
football
unexpected,
players do.
but
Yes. Yeah, I do think in 10 years, I do think it was a little unexpected. What was it? 8 years? No, 9 years.
9,
years
yeah.
for Calvin. Yeah. Pat Tillman, but his was for an incredible cause.
yeah.
Bo Jackson, obviously injury, so that doesn't help. Back in the day, Bobby Orr retired at the age of 30. I don't know if people realize that, but that would have been one. Ken Dryden retired at the age of 31. Mike Bossy, who was one of the greatest scorers of his generation, but had constant back problems at the age of 30. Now, maybe things would be a little different today if they had, some of the medicine and the procedures that you could do today. So perhaps there's something. Probably one of the first names to come to mind. I don't know if it means if Mark is talking about that they just hung it up for the sake of hanging it up too early. But Mario Lemieux had a pretty damn good reason. He had lymphoma. It was 31 when he retired. He came back, but it was 31. Everybody knows. I mean, Vladimir Konstantinov. I mean, there's nothing you could do about that, of course. Unfortunately.
Yeah, as far as guys who willingly, made the decision to hang him up, like what about Aaron Donald at 32?
Yeah, that's a good
because
one.
he was still performing at such a high level. We never saw a big drop off from him. It wasn't like, all right, bud, it's time. You never saw that with him.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot.
And then I think you nailed it with Andrew
Terrell
Luck.
Davis. I mean, Terrell Davis. I think we talked about him last week, right? Because I watched the Elway docuseries.
Yeah, only a 7-year career, right?
Was it 7 or 8? Either way, I think he was only 30 years old when he retired. There's a kid. There was a guy who's considered one of the best American-born hockey players of all time, who's from Pat LaFontaine from Westland. I'm trying to think. Anyway, Pat LaFontaine was one of the best scorers in American hockey history. He retired like at the age of 33. So you could bring him into it. Those are a few of the names for you, Mark. I don't know if there's some others that perhaps you had in mind.
Andrew Luck is a great one. You briefly mentioned that one earlier because that one, for one, came out of nowhere. At least that's how I remember it. Completely unexpected. And he was still elite, I would say.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at his numbers, he's another guy that never had a drop off.
Without a doubt.
He just chose his future and prioritized his health. How can you blame him?
Yeah, I don't blame him. I do wonder if there's ever a part of any of these guys who think back and say, I wish I would have stuck around a little bit longer. I mean, Jim Brown was arguably the greatest running back of all time. You retired age 29. He wanted to go do movies. Okay, good for him. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I just wonder if it's something that they regret. Like Luke Kuechly, too many concussions, man. 28. You want to have a quality of life.
Yeah.
I don't blame you one bit. This is not Gale Sayers was almost forced to because of the knees. Today, it might be a little different with a guy like Gale Sayers because of, the advanced medicine. Terrell Davis, he had all kinds of migraines and things like that. So at age 29, I get it. I would say one more. Can I give you one more? One of the best linebackers of his generation was Patrick Willis. and he retired at the age of 30. I think it's a little different in football. Like one of my favorite, if not my outside of Barry Sanders, my favorite running back was Earl Campbell. He can't even walk today. He's in a wheelchair. And it's not like he's a super old man. He retired at the age of 31 because he just got beat up too much. It's crazy what these guys go through, and a lot of them are running backs. Tiki Barber, for example, is a guy who retired early on in his career. When you look at offensive linemen, I remember being in an elevator with Bill Fralick one time, former Falcon and Lions offensive lineman, and my buddy Rob Rubik said to him, "Hey, we were at Pitt, and how you feeling?" He's like, "Yeah, my shoulders, my hips, my elbows, it's just too much." Tony Baselli felt the same way. He retired at the age of 29. So football might be a little different than some of the other sports. If you're looking at basketball, I'm trying to think of who some of the early retired basketball players might be.
Yeah, that one's harder. You got Magic
so,
Johnson for the sake of, that's another one that's out of his control. Well, not necessarily, but you get what I'm saying. It wasn't basketball related.
Yeah, definitely under his control.
Oh, for sure.
He didn't have control.
You know what I meant. But that's an interesting one because he did make a comeback 4 years later in '96. He came back, played for like half a season for LA. So he
made an all-star team. Yeah.
Who knows? He probably could have kept playing that entire time had what happened not happened.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's hard for me to think of a basketball player that just retired early.
How old was Yao Ming when he retired? Do you
I
remember?
will look that up.
Okay. I think he's one of those guys who might have retired a little early. I'm not going to get into Len Bias, who, died, Drazen Petrovic, who died. But some people think there are guys who maybe hung it up when they still had more in them. Let's put it that way.
Yao Ming was 31. So I guess that is relatively young.
Yeah, that is young. Who's the guy on ESPN? Is it ESPN? Yeah, it is ESPN. Jason Williams. How old was Jason Williams? I think he retired kind of early. It's not like he was a superstar. But certain guys, they retired at an early age for whatever reason. Those are some of the names that quickly come to mind. I remember when I was a kid, Brad Doherty, who was a really good player in Cleveland, wanted to own NASCAR team. I think he retired pretty early. So those are just some of the few names that come to mind. But that's a really good question, Mark, it's a really good question. Thank you, Mark, for the question. It's an outstanding topic. It really is. 8:18, by the way, we've got your hero and heel. Your best and your worst of the weekend or week. Feel free to join us for that. You can call us on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843, or text us, Sports Radio to 21,000. This hour has been brought to you by our friends at Meijer. Stay with us.
You worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get 300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, HUGE, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, and they put you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. Anything can happen during the Super Bowl. You know that. Anything can happen during football. DraftKings understands that as well as anybody, and they've got your back with early exit. That means if a player goes down in the first half, Drake May, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. New DraftKings, if you are new to it, where you've been first and foremost. But new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's right, $5, get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HUGE, turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. It's in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years or older. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. It's in Michigan only. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. So there's a time frame there. Make sure you follow it. Minimum odds are required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. Welcome back. Final hour of the show here on X's and Bros. And we are brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Our friend Bill Simonson had a good tweet out the other day. So the Reds can sign Eugenio Suarez to a 1-year, $15 million deal, but the Tigers can't. And then he gets into his philosophy on why they can't. And I understand that. I kind of, I respect Billy for that. I don't necessarily agree with Billy, but that's okay too. All right. I do understand where he's coming from, though. You can make that case. He wants to make the case. This is a team that needs some pop in its lineup. From the right side, you have Torkelson. That's great. Green's a lefty. Meadows is a lefty. Carpenter's a lefty. Torres is going to give you 12 to 15. Baez is going to give you 12 to 15. Dingler, you'd love to get 20 out of him. That'd be a lot. But I could see that. Torkelson, you need 30. Where's the right-handed power? I'm just wondering. Tell me where there isn't any. Cole Keith's a lefty, man. Okay, if he's going to play third base. Zach McKinstry is going to play third base. They're left-handed sticks. Bill didn't make this point in the tweet, but I think this is what he was thinking. They need right-handed power. Suarez last year hit 49 bombs. That's combined with Arizona and Seattle. He wasn't very good for Seattle. And he sure as hell wasn't very good in batting average. Batting average is now widely considered passé, at least by players. If it could be by players, should we adopt that? I don't know. The strikeouts are concerning. You had a problem with Riley Green's 31 homers, 100 and, no, he had more than 31. What do you have, Trent? 36? 36 homers, over 110 RBIs, but you had a problem with the 202 strikeouts. I get it. Suarez, 196 punch-outs. Last year, had 196 strikeouts. Year before, 176. Year before, led the league in strikeouts with 214. Year before that, led the league with 196. On average, he's going to punch out 180 times. That's his average in his career. In his 12 years in which he has played with the Reds, with the Diamondbacks, with the Mariners, with the Tigers, his average strikeout is 180 times. If he's going to strike out 190 times, and Riley Green's going to strike out close to the same thing, and we know Spencer Torkelson strikes out. He struck out 169 times last year. That's a lot of punch-outs in your lineup, isn't it? I understand where Billy's coming from. I'm not going to totally disagree with him. It would worry me a little bit with him at third base. It's 1 year, man. It's $15 million. You're paying Gleyber Torres $22 million. You played to Bill's point, you paid Alex Cobb $15 million last year and he didn't play. He wasn't going to play. He was going to retire. But you went out and said, please play with us. You convinced him to come back and play, and you gave him $15 million. Why wouldn't you do it here? Part of the problem, too, is that, Gleyber Torres, or I should say, Gleyber Torres isn't great defensively. Your shortstop position isn't great defensively. And you got a guy like Eugenio Suarez, who's, in his career, defensive run saves there's nothing there to write home about. I think it's a minus 46 in defensive run saves in his career. That is horrific. Okay? He's a minus 4 on average in his career. He's a minus 4 defensive runs saved. Doesn't mean Cole Keith's going to be much better, okay? Because it's not like he's got a ton of experience at third base. I think he's played there 230 times, something like that. So there's nothing deep-rooted there. It should be concerning for us that this team hasn't addressed those two areas. The two areas are the right-handed power and third base. Now, Billy thinks they could have taken care of it with one player. I don't. Because I don't want him playing third base. Scares the hell out of me. All right? I'm a big defensive guy when it comes to my infield, especially up the middle, and they don't have a great defensive nothing special there on the infield. Catcher-wise, absolutely. Center field, for sure. Quite honestly, that's one of the more exciting things that I feel about with like a guy like Max Clark. If and when he gets to the big leagues, second half of the season, later in July, if he tears it up at AA, AAA, like we expect him to, he gets called up, everybody's going to want to see the stick. I can't wait to see him play defense. I can't imagine he's much better than Parker Meadows in defense, but I'm excited to have that type of defensive ability in the outfield. Even if you moved one of those guys to right field, think of that. No one is finding the gap against Green and Meadows and Clark. It's an exaggeration, but you understand my point, right? Now, if your defense was that equal on the infield, as good as the defensive outfield could be, the defensive infield is equivalent to that in a weak sense. But for $15 million, I agree with Bill in the sense that you could have made a run at Suarez, right? And maybe they did. We just didn't hear about it. But you need that kind of right-handed pop off your bench. The issue is, what do you do defensively? Well, you got a left-handed stick playing third base who's not used to that position in the first place, penciled in there right now. That I don't get. You know how you make that up? You make that up with a really good shortstop. And they don't have that. Seriously. You make that up. If your shortstop has a deep range, Baez in his prime would have been fine with that. Bill's point was, you get a chance to win the division now. And I understand that mindset too. I really do. I mean, when you're looking at Fangraphs predicting you with 83 wins, there's nothing special there. It's going to be more for the Yankees. It's going to be more for the Red Sox. It's going to be more for the Blue Jays. You've got a lot of teams that are better than you are going into the season. Going into the season now. It doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to end. But if you looked at those teams moving toward the season, and baseball is not too dissimilar from football in this regard. I say this all the time. You got 90 guys going into football camp. You know, of the 53, 46. Okay. Baseball, you got all those guys going into camp. How many of them do you already know are going to be on your 25-man roster? Probably 20 of them. Pretty close to that. Phone number on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. It's 10 after the hour. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, Hero and Heel. If you got one, call us on the Meijer hotline or text us, Sports Radio 21000. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
18 after the hour. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thanks for being with us. We're brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. In case you missed it, the Pistons run roughshod over the Brooklyn Nets, led by as many as 55, won by a franchise record 53, 130-77. Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham both had double-doubles. Both are all-stars. Shouldn't surprise us. Red Wings back on the schedule at Colorado tonight. The Avs pounded them the other day at Little Caesars, 5-0, and have only lost 2 games in regulation at home this year. Tampa came from 4 goals down last night. They increased their lead in the Atlantic Division over Detroit to 4. Raiders have hired Clint Kubiak, Seahawks offensive coordinator. He'll become official after the Super Bowl. Arizona's filled their vacancy with Mike LaFleur, the Rams OC. Raheem Morris, the former Falcons head coach, is the new San Francisco DC. Justin Rose and Carlos Alcaraz win in golf and tennis, respectively. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Are the Red Wings good enough as is to make the playoffs? Yes, they will win the division. Yes, but as a wild card. Not unless they make a trade, or no, they will fade like the last 2 years. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. That's our Twitter handle. I've also retweeted it at ShepMatt. The results come your way tomorrow in the final hour of our show. 8:18 every Monday, we give you Hero and Heel, the best and the worst of the week. My hero for this week, it's hard not to go with Michigan basketball. Really impressive win against Nebraska, handing the Cornhuskers their first loss of the season and coming from 12 points down, 11 points down to do it. Impressive. And then they turn around and the emotional side of things, and they win at MSU, built a big lead, had the Spartans come back, and then take care of business down the stretch. They hand Tom Izzo his first loss on his birthday since 2018, the same year that Michigan did it. Well, the last time Michigan won at Breslin. U of M scored on 11 of their last 12 possessions, held State to just 3 baskets over the final 6.5 minutes. Wolverines are 20-1, 5-0 against ranked teams, and 10-0 on the road this year. Whether you like them or not, they are an excellent basketball team, and that's hard to deny. They're my hero of the week.
Yeah, if it weren't for Arizona still being 20-0, undefeated, and UConn curb stomped Creighton over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that, but those 2 teams look really good, but Michigan looks just as good, man. I mean, they could easily be the best team in the country.
Yeah, you were there. I
actually was, and I couldn't end up making it. I had something come up with the family the day of, so I had to pull out. But I did watch from the west side here, and it was an exciting comeback for Michigan State, but Michigan did by far look like the better team, in my opinion. So
yeah, look. You
can't deny
Michigan, Yeah, I mean, I watched it with Jimmy King and Mitch Lyons, and they were so much fun to watch. Even Mitch is like, look, he, as much as he wants him to win, he had his state gear on and all that. You can't deny it. I don't know how you can possibly sit there and deny anything other than the fact that Michigan was just the better team that day. That doesn't mean that they're going to beat them every time they play them this year, and it doesn't mean that they're going to win the national championship. For that day, in one of the toughest environments in college basketball.
Yes, well said.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Impressive. All right, some quick honorable mentions just because I want to mention it. Carlos Alcaraz, you mentioned it earlier, youngest to complete the career Grand Slam, so he deserves credit.
At age 22.
That's something that guys like Pete Sampras didn't even do, I mean, to do it at that young of an age is just awesome. And Jarrett Allen had 40 points, a career high for him, and 17 boards for the Cavs. Nice performance there. But my hero is Jalen Duren. For some reason, he's been a little polarizing in this state and in this fan base. I don't really get it. He's having a career year.
I don't get it either.
He deserves a ton of credit. Mitch Lyons mentioned it. He was very raw and young when the Pistons drafted him in 2022, and he's only gotten better every single season. You watch him now with the ball on offense. He's confident driving it, facing up every now and then. And, of course, he sticks to his guns down low with the putbacks, the lob finishes, the rim running. And on defense, he's as good a rim protector as you're going to find in the Eastern Conference. So I think his all-star selection is well-deserved. It gives the Pistons their first all-star game with more than 1 rep on the court since 2008. So bravo, Jalen Duren. Here he is talking about that honor.
I want to do even more for the city. The city, like you said, they've been supporting me. They've been supporting the whole group, the whole organization through the ups, the downs. To be able to bring another all-star back to the city is great. I mean, they deserve it. The fans, I feel like we got the best fans in the league by far. They come out every night, no matter the weather, the game, or what. They show up and they show love. So they deserve everything that they give.
Jalen Duren, my hero for the weekend.
That's a good one. The thing about that is, not to get nitpicky, I had forgotten Pistons didn't even draft him.
Well, I mean,
Charlotte originally drafted him.
Yeah, but he was traded on draft night. It was one of those. It's like Kobe Bryant with the Lakers kind of thing.
Yeah. So it was one of those big deals for, wasn't Mikal Bridges associated with that?
Might have been.
I think so. Anyway, that's a good one, and I'm happy for him. I think he deserves it. I don't know. You bring up a really interesting point. Why is he polarizing? I don't understand that.
I don't really know if he is, but
I think he is. No, I think you're right about that.
I don't think he is to the extent
why in the world do you think that is the case? If I said to you, forget that he was 19 for a moment when his first year, at age 20, he's averaged a double-double in every single year since his rookie season. Okay.
Yep.
So age 20, 21, 22, he's averaged a double-double. He has gotten better for the most. I mean, number is up better this year at the free throw line than it was a year ago, but his career high free throw percentage is 79%. Was in his second year. He is pretty steady from the field goal percentage aspect of it, and he's a quality offensive rebound. He's averaging almost 4 offensive rebounds a game. I don't understand why there is any type of angst whatsoever for him. The only thing I can think of is this, that at 6'10", 250 pounds and chiseled, people fear that he's the second coming of Andre Drummond. That's the only thing I can possibly think of. Or maybe he got too much pub. I don't know. I would just remind people, Andre Drummond, for as great a rebounder as he was, he's a 49% free throw shooter.
Terrible.
That is not Jalen Duren. Andre Drummond was primarily an in the paint field goal percent type of guy at 54%. That is not Jalen Duren. He's expanding his game and he's getting better. So I don't get it. All right, here's my heel. My heel is New York Giants owner Steve Tisch. All right. The man who produced films like Forrest Gump and Risky Business was found to have been mentioned over 400 times in documents associated with the Jeffrey Epstein files. His email correspondence with Epstein featured college girls, Ukrainian girls, Russian girls, women, not girls. What a mess for the NFL. What a mess for the Giants. I don't even know I don't know how much it matters to people. I don't know if Giants fans are going to suddenly say, no, I'm not a Giants fan.
We're going to find out. As this continues to roll out, unfortunately, we're going to find out.
About a lot of different people. Yeah, so that's my heel of the week.
Good one. My heel's Alabama men's hoops. Since bringing that Badiako kid back, I know I probably just butchered his name.
Yeah.
He was drafted into the NBA. You all know the story. He played professionally, and then via a legal loophole, Bama brings him back. Since they're 1-2. They've lost to unranked Tennessee by 6. And then yesterday they lose to a good Florida team, but they lose to the Gators by 23.
Yeah, they got pounded.
So I saw a chance to pile on here and revel in their little slide. I'm taking it. The thought was if they bring back this kid, they're adding a hell of a talent to an already really solid team that could win it all. I don't know if be careful what you wish for necessarily applies here because it's only a 3-game sample size, but they sure don't look like the team they were before bringing him back. And he's a big part of that rotation now. And I'm just simply observing that as March is now a month away. Alabama men's hoops and Nate Oates.
Yeah, and look, Nate Oates is a guy who, he's had a lot of success. We know that, right? But there's some people who have questioned some of the motives that he goes about.
They don't love his ethos, ethics, whatever you want to call it, necessarily.
I would agree with that.
He represents the new kind of despicable, slimy NIL world. Whereas, the old guard.
Even before that, I would argue even before that.
He's got a checkered past.
Yeah. And the thing, I mean, how did that kid do? He had 6 points in 24 minutes, 6 points and 7 rebounds. Is it really worth it to ruin your reputation? Freddie sent us a text and said, hey, Justin Rose is my hero. Rose set the course record at Torrey Pines to win the Farmers Insurance Open. First wire-to-wire winner in 71 years. And at 23 under par score, the course record breaks that of set by Tiger Woods back in 1999 when he shot 22 under par. So thanks for that, Freddie. Appreciate it as always. We're back with more on the other side of X's and Bros after this, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. Make your voice heard. Text Sports Radio, all one word, to 21000. That's Sports Radio to 21,000.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen in the Super Bowl, you know that DraftKings has your back with the early exit. That means if a player goes down in the first half, Sam Darnold, you get still paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting, just an early exit. DraftKings having your back. And if you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code HUGE to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. There is eligibility and restrictions that do apply. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. We had mentioned Jalen Duren is an all-star, along with Cade Cunningham, J.B. Bickerstaff, too. If you think about it, the Pistons have 3 all-stars, so that's really cool. First time they've had 2 all-star players or more on a team since 2008. 6 players are first-time all-stars. 6, including Duren. This is the 15th straight year where there are 4 or more first-time all-stars in the NBA.
15 years?
15 consecutive years.
Holy cow.
4 or more first-time all-stars, which I think is fantastic.
That's a great sign for the league, yeah.
Yeah, I think so,
because it means
too.
consistently they're turning out, talent. People are reaching their peak or entering their prime, maybe, if you want to call it that. A handful of guys are doing that every year.
It's fantastic.
So it never gets boring, so to speak.
Somebody must have been, I don't know if they were listening to our show or not, but they said Alex Cobb money for a guy who hit 49 homers last season and plays a position of need wasn't worth the risk, I guess, regarding the Tigers. And that's Eugenio Suarez. It is, I'll be honest with you, it's one of those tough ones for me. I read Bill Simonson's tweet earlier in the show, and for good reason. It's a tough one for me because if I preach you need him from a right-handed power bat aspect, it's true. But on the other hand, I'm also a guy who feels like their infield defense stinks, which is true. So why can't you find somebody who can give you both good defense and a strong right-handed bat? Because there isn't anybody out there to do that. So then you have to roll the dice. What are you going to do? Are you going to accept the fact that I would sign him for his power, knowing that there's a lot of strikeouts? I would sign him for his power, sacrificing defense. My question would be, how much defense are you sacrificing? How good is Cole Keith at third base? And if he's that much better than Suarez, could Suarez make up for it with his right-handed power? I think the answer to the latter part is absolutely. And that's perhaps what needs to be explained. When people are upset about this, and I use the Alex Cobb example too, when they're upset about this, they have every right to be. Just understand who you're getting. That's what I say all the time. Forget the name for a moment. You're only looking at the name, and you're looking at 49 homers, and you're looking at what he's done in the past in terms of home run power. And I get it, okay? Because it's something that they desperately need. When you're getting a guy who's on average going to deliver for you 32 home runs a year, that is a big deal. He could join the power lineup of Green, Torkelson, and Carpenter. Think about that for a minute. If you had those guys, I mean, Torres will hit at the top of the order, but if you hit Torres first and then suddenly you went Green and you went Torkelson and you went Carpenter and you went Suarez, that pitching staff, that opposing pitching staff is going 30 homers, 30 homers, 30 homers, 30 homers. That's a hell of a weapon to have in the middle of your order. On the other hand, understand this. You also have 200 strikeouts, 170 strikeouts, 190 strikeouts, and depending on it's a righty or a lefty, strikeout prone in the fifth hole too. So it's wonderful to sit there and think about it. And I would do it for a 1-year, $15 million deal too. But I also would understand what I'm getting. I'm getting basically an all or nothing guy. That's what you're getting. Okay. Because it's a guy who's not going to, and he's going to deliver. You got to score some runs, right? 49 homers, 118 RBIs last year. Who led the Tigers last year in RBIs?
Riley Green.
Okay. So Riley Green last season had 111 RBIs. Eugenio Suarez would drive in more than that, at least based on last year. Riley Green last year led this team in home runs, right? With 36.
Yeah.
This guy had more than that. But all you and I have heard during the offseason, and even during the season, is people bitching about how many strikeouts he had. Am I wrong there?
No.
Just stop me when I'm wrong.
Especially when the slide started. That's when people really, really, really honed in on his strikeouts and wouldn't cut him any slack. None.
Exactly. They also honed in on it when he made the stupid statement.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about strikeouts.
I don't care. Right.
That was bad.
Yeah. So there are certain statements that people have said that people are going to always refer to. When Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes say we're good, that's all we hear.
And stuff surfaces,
when Riley
right?
Green, yeah. And when Riley Green says, I don't care about strikeouts, that's all we hear. When Joe Namath says, I want to kiss you, that's all we hear.
Yikes.
Right? So all I'm saying to you is, sure, Suarez will give you the home runs. Green did. Suarez will give you triple-digit RBIs. Green did. But you're focusing on his strikeouts of 202. Eugenio Suarez had 198. Nobody's thinking about that. Oh, and by the way, Green's a better defensive player. At his position, he's a much better defensive player than Suarez is at third. I don't blame you for wanting Suarez. That's not the point. The point is, understand who you're getting, and don't be bitching about the guy in left field about certain aspects of his game if you're not going to talk about the guy at third base who you wanted because of what he's done.
And like you said, you have to know that going in. You can't just act all surprised and then start ripping on Suarez. No, you got to know what you're getting, man.
When he strikes
you signed
out
up for this.
Right. When he strikes out 3 times in a game, you better be ready for it. You can be frustrated all you want. That's fine. I have no issue with that. But you better be ready for it. Prepare yourself. And obviously we don't have to worry about that because he's not on our team. But Suarez last year, he's striking out 3 times against Baltimore. He's striking out 4 times against Miami. That happens in a Detroit uniform. You're pissed off. And you're going, are you kidding me? 4 punch-outs? The golden sombrero? He did it against Atlanta as well. It's multiple strikeouts. There were 3 games in a row last year where Eugenio Suarez struck out at least twice. Miami, Miami, Miami. And people will be like, are you kidding me? A week later, he strikes out 7 times in 2 games. You don't like it with Riley Green, I don't blame you. Don't sit there and preach that you need this guy at third base until you understand he's not too dissimilar from that. And while Green can save you runs in left field, this guy will not save you runs at third base. That's all. Okay? And like I said, I would do it too. 1 year, $15 million. If I'm going to throw $15 freaking million at Alex Cobb, and I'm going to throw as much money as I threw at Tommy Kahnle, I wouldn't throw it at this guy? Where's the logic there? Does that make any sense to you whatsoever?
It's also the idea that this is going to be a snap change and just fix everything. You know, that's not going to be the case.
In what sense? What do you mean?
Bringing in Suarez wouldn't just if that's all you did in the offseason, at least for me, I wouldn't be satisfied with that.
No, I'm not asking you to.
I'm not saying you are either.
You need a power right-handed bat. Last year in the offseason, Scott Harris thought we need another starter. We need a guy who can log some innings.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to do? We're going to go out and get a guy who pitched 16 and a third innings the year before. That's what he did. Alex Cobb pitched 16 and 1/3 innings the year before.
Fully prepared to retire, too. I mean,
he was prepared to retire. Only had 3 starts. He was injured. I get it. All right. The year before, the Tigers were hoping that he would return to the guy who was the year before when he made 28 starts and 151 innings. That's who they wanted. Or the guy before that who started 149 innings. Forgetting all the while that the year before it was 93, the year before that it was 52, the year before that it was 12. So he had 2 good years out of the previous 6 years. And you thought you were going to capture that guy. So what do? Oh, here's 15 mil. Here's the logic. I'm just asking you to think along with me. A guy who pitched 3 starts and 16 1/3 innings, I'm going to give $15 million. But you're not going to pay $15 million to a guy who delivered 49 bombs and 118 RBIs and addresses a desperate need for you in your offensive lineup. Help me with the logic, please. I can't find any. It makes no sense. Now, maybe they did engage in discussions and he didn't want to come here. That's possible. Even though all indications were at the trade deadline last year, he thought it would be cool to come back here. Freddie, send us back in. The reason Duran is polarizing to guys like me is because I see him as a third guy, not Cade's Robin. Cade gets that Robin, then he shoots perfect at 3, and you can win titles. Oh, then suddenly you have 3 guys. Okay.
That's a fair clarification.
I think it's a fair clarification for sure. Yeah.
He just sees him better. He thinks he'd be a really, really, really good third guy instead of being an average second guy.
So who would be your second guy that you could trade for?
I mean,
how many teams are trading
a second guy?
His words, Robins.
Yeah.
How many of them are
not
trading?
many, but to answer your question, I think Trey Murphy III could be. He's close to 20 points a game. He would be, in my opinion, not in terms of play style, but just in terms of his role on the team, he would be what everyone wanted Jaden Ivey to be.
Well, that's the guy I've wanted.
Yeah.
I think it makes a ton of sense. That's the guy who I've brought up. He's averaging 20 points a game, but Jalen Duran's averaging, over 18 and 10.
Yeah, right.
So I guess my question would be, why would one guy be a Robin based on that statistic? That's all. And Trey Murphy's only 25, I might add. Duran's only 22. But why is he a Robin and Duran wouldn't be?
Yeah, I'm not saying I believe this, but I think what you would, if you did believe that, it would be because of just play style. He'd be in the backcourt with Cade, running up and down the floor, that kind of thing. And then Jalen Duran would be your rim runner. What they do right now, essentially, you'd just be throwing in another shooter, another scorer, another bucket getter next to Cade in the backcourt. That's what I'm thinking.
So I get that. The number I look at more than anything else is the 3-point shooting from Murphy. He's averaging 3 triples a game, and he's done that in each of the last 3 years.
Consistent.
I think that's probably as important as anything else. He is not going to lead. He's not going to be Sadiq Bey. He's not going to be that as a Piston. He's not going to be Malik Beasley. He's not. But he's going to give you 150 triples. He gives you something you need. We've just got done talking about how the Tigers need a power right-handed stick, right? They did not address that. Well, that's their choice. They want to save some money, perhaps. They want to go with youngsters, perhaps. They don't feel like it's as dire a need as I feel it to be. Nobody said I was right. That's just my thoughts. Those are my beliefs. What do the Pistons need? This is a team that is as good as any team in the Eastern Conference and the second best record in the NBA. People around Detroit are acting like this team is on the cusp of missing the playoffs instead of getting home court advantage throughout. It's fair to look at really good teams, no matter who they are. I mean, Seattle and New England are going into the Super Bowl. They have flaws, all right? So I would ask you, what does this team lack? This team lacks a shooter. It doesn't have to be a 3-point shooter. They could use a scorer or a shooter. Is 21 points a game a scorer?
Yes.
You think it is?
Yeah. I think anything over 20, I'd consider you a scorer.
Okay.
Now, are you the level of scorer Cade Cunningham is when he's averaging 27? No. But I would still consider you a scorer, yes, if you're averaging 20.
Okay, because there's roughly, last night looking at this, there's about 32 guys who average 20 points or more.
Which about makes sense, right? There's at least one guy on each team in theory that's a scorer.
Yes. Yeah, good point. So if that's the case, and there are exceptions, of course, if that's the case, you're getting a scorer. Is that what they need, or do they need a shooter?
Shooter.
Or is it one and the same?
They can go hand in hand. Like, for example, Duncan Robinson's not a scorer. He's a shooter.
Correct.
Steph Curry's both.
Correct.
Now, you're not going to get a Steph Curry. That's not what I'm implying here. But I think Trey Murphy can be both.
Trey Murphy shoots 47% from the floor, which most people would say, I would take that. Like, I like Jamal Murray. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a hell of a shooter. His numbers are a little down this year than the past.
But he's another one that's both, I think.
Yeah, but not that he's available. I'm just saying that's the kind of guy. Murphy can be that type of guy for you. I don't need a guy to average 30. I don't need Luka Doncic on this team. I think if you get a guy like Murphy, who's averaging 21 points per game, shooting 47%, knocking down 3 triples a game, that's exactly what this team needs. Let's get to the final results of our poll question and the daily wager as well. The poll question that we asked you on Friday: who is Michigan's best player? Because we asked you on Thursday, who is State's best player? Who's Michigan's best player? Morris Johnson, Yaxel Landelborg, Trey McKinney, or other? What were the final results?
Morris Johnson won the poll, 58%.
That's a little surprising.
Landelborg got 36%. That was my vote. Trey McKinney got 4%. Only 2% said other.
Point guard was pretty damn good the other day, too.
Yep.
Here's our poll question today. Our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question: are the Red Wings good enough as is to make the playoffs? Yes, they will win the division. Yes, but as a wild card, not unless they make a trade, or no, they will fade like the last 2 years. Vote as often as you would like, and the results come your way in the final hour tomorrow. How was the daily wager on Friday? Didn't you pick State?
No, I took the over, and it hit. It was
146.5,
and the 83-71 final adds up to 154. So if you rocked with me on Friday, we ended the week on a good note. But tonight,
final score surprised you at all?
Yeah, it did. It was a little more high scoring than I thought.
Yeah, same.
And the way the game kind of went, it was not exactly how I expected either. Michigan State digging such a hole and then coming back. It's not like it was a nip and tuck game until the end. Right. It was a game of runs. It was weird. But tonight, the best game on tonight in college hoops, Texas Tech is hosting Kansas, 11 versus 14. But Kansas is a 4.5-point favorite on the road. Both of these teams are high in the net. They're both 5-5 in quad one. This is a great matchup. I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover 4.5 at home. I don't know if they win, but I've got faith that they could win. And if you're going to give me 4.5 points for the home team in a ranked matchup, I will take the Red Raiders to cover 4.5 tonight. That game tips off at 9 o'clock on ESPN.
Not a big fan of Bill Self. All right, that's the daily wager here on X's and Bros, and it's brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Our thanks to Mitch Lyons for Mondays with Mitch. Our thanks to you for your interest